it'll be available on our YouTube page on Thursday. So you guys will all get an email with the link to that. So sweet, sweet. Looks like the recording has started here. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. So awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. Welcome to the second meeting of the year for the MSU Wealth Management Association. This year we have our first guest speaker of the year, Plante Moran Financial Advisors. We're so excited to hear from them. But before we hear from them, we have a couple quick announcements, and then we actually have our first presentation of the year from the Spartan Journal News team. So, couple of announcements here real quick. So, everything really here, first two things are events. So, what I want to start with is everything you guys see, everything we offer in terms of events, they're always free for students. So we've got three big events here, the couple Financial Planning Association of Michigan events, and then a FinTech conference. All are free for events. You do need to follow the links and fill out the forms accordingly, making sure you mark that you're a student or you might get charged for some of these events. So I definitely just wanted to start off by saying that. So first one is the Talent Connection offered by the Financial Planning Association of Michigan. That's October 1st at 5 p.m. So that's kind of like a career fair, not exactly. It's more of a networking event. So what it is a lot of advisors from the Financial Planning Association of Michigan who want to connect with students and young advisors and just offer their advice on how they got started and things they can do at the beginning of their career. All free. It would be a great event for people, anybody really, freshman all the way to senior. So the next thing we have on here from the Financial Planning Association of Michigan is their fall symposium. Last year, I had the pleasure of going with some of my other fellow students. I know Costa was there. We got to go to this in person. It was in Novi, I believe, and it was really cool. It's a two-day event with a bunch of different guest speakers. I remember last year we got to have a little cool video shot of all us students, us in Central Michigan, and we got to sit down and just hear from all these different professionals. Last year we sat on like a JP Morgan event. I heard an event about reverse mortgages. So there's a lot of cool things that they offer. This year, they have it over 2 days, and it is totally virtual. And two of the events that I wanted to point out to everybody, one of them is a guide to markets on October 7th from 1 to 2 p.m. I'm going to go to that one. It sounds really interesting. And then the next day from 9 to 10 a.m., there's a presentation about financial planning in the age of COVID. So two great FPA events. I'm going to send out this on our Thursday email, so you guys have the links to all of it. But if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email. So this next one is a FinTech conference. This is a little outside of the range of wealth management, but still a really cool opportunity. So Kristen Hintz of the Career Center shared this with us. It's actually put on by Barron's Group and the University of Chicago. And it's supposed to be teaching people what the options market looks like moving forward. So definitely relevant if you're going into the career of financial advising. It's something you're going to be seeing. So not a bad thing to go check out if you have some time. So. Next two announcements I have on here are the survey and social media. So something we're going to start doing here in a couple of weeks is actually giving out some WMA swag, stickers, t-shirts, masks, all that fun stuff. And the way you guys will get access to that is by sharing our social media content. So go like us on Instagram, go follow us on LinkedIn. And if you do that, you're going to see in the coming weeks all these opportunities to share our content. And if you do that, follow the instructions, you'll get some WMA stuff. Next one is the survey. I did these a little out of order here, but the next one is our WMA survey. So we created teams this year. So each team is going to be led by one of our WMA e-board members. And what this is really just aimed at having us all stay connected in this virtual environment. We don't get to see everybody's faces in person, unfortunately. But what we do want to do is kind of break everybody up into a small team and offer other little breakout sessions. So when we get into case studies later in the year, these are the groups you would be doing case studies in. If you're interested in joining one of those teams, make sure to fill out the survey. We're going to close that for this semester next Monday. So last announcement here is the Business Career Fair is this Thursday. So if you guys are looking for opportunities, definitely go check that out. I know Plante Moran will be there, so make sure to go check their booth out at the Business Career Fair. And it has been switched over to Handshake. I'm sure you guys have heard this already, but after what happened at the Finance Career Fair, they decided to switch it over to Handshake. And I think everything I've heard, it's going to be a much better process. All the recruiters think that Handshake's a better platform. So even if you went to the finance career fair and didn't have a good experience, definitely go to the business career fair, different format, and it's going to be much better. So before I pass it off to Derek, does anybody have any questions about the announcements? No. Sweet.
Also,
right. So if you
want to follow us on Instagram, the @ is at MSU WMA. And then we also have a Facebook group. So if you want to be updated on like our events and everything, you can join our Facebook group.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah. In our emails, we actually have links to those. So at the bottom in our headers, you can follow those. So. Awesome. Any other questions about this week's announcements?
All right, guys. I'm going to be talking about the job board. So as you can see here, we got Plante Moran. And so essentially, all of these companies are looking for interns full time. And every week, I'm going to be looking on Handshake or trying to connect with people on LinkedIn or, search for in other ways just to find you guys opportunities, right? And that's a big reason why this club exists. We want to get you guys jobs. We want to get you guys experience, so you can, that's the best way you guys are going to learn about the industry. Second, we're going to bring in people to teach you about, different areas of wealth management, but, we want to get you guys out there and get some jobs. So, one more thing. You guys are going to learn a lot about Plante Moran today. Their application closes on October 1st, so I would encourage you guys to apply if you haven't. And next, we're going to be talking about what's going on in the market and in the news in general, so I'm going to hand it off to the news team.
All right, cool. Thanks, Derek. So pretty much what my story is about is so Moderna is currently working on a phase 3 trial so far for the coronavirus vaccine. So optimism is getting a lot more, people are getting a lot more optimistic. So phase 3 trials pretty much mean that it's the final trial. But the big news is that Moderna should come out with their coronavirus vaccine study result by late October, which is really exciting. So according to the chief executive officer, Stephen Batchel, he's saying the timing of the study result will depend on the rates of infection across the United States locations where the trial is being conducted, and more than 25,000 people are currently enrolled in that. And this is because the study is comparing whether fewer vaccinated people come down with symptomatic COVID-19 than unvaccinated people. So Moderna as well as Pfizer, who is also they are both trying to come up with vaccine candidates at this time, and they should come out with study results around the same time as well. So assuming that the study is positive and that the results are good, people will start, Moderna will start to seek authorization from the U.S. government so that people can get vaccinated for immediate distribution. Anthony Fauci, along with the U.S. government, they have instructed states to be ready for the distribution, just so that there's no backups or anything like that, so that everything goes smoothly. And if the study yields positive results, despite that, people are probably not going to get vaccinated until 2021 because the supply is going to be very limited early on.
Awesome. Thanks, Vincent. We'll have Jake next.
Guys, I'm Jake. So I talked about Nikola, and it is an electric vehicle company that just merged with GM here early in September. And there's been some controversy among them. So short seller Hindenburg Research, which is a company that, so short selling is when you borrow stocks and then you sell them, and then you get more stocks and you sell them, so you make money off it by short selling. So what they did is they came out with a 67-page report reporting that Nikola is involved in intricate fraud, claiming that they misled partners into signing agreements with falsifying extensive proprietary technology, meaning they, and for example, they had a video come out saying that they had an operating cell-fueled truck, when in reality they towed it up a hill and had it roll down, so it looked like it was driving itself, when in reality it wasn't. So, so the SEC is currently investigating it as we speak, and as a result, their stock has tanked quite a bit. So their founder, Trevor Milton, resigned this Monday, and as a result, their stock tanked almost 20%. So one result of this is that the future of Nikola could struggle in regaining credibility with their future investors and also future partnerships, because they did lose that trust value as of this report. And so now I'll pass it on to Oscar.
Oscar, are you there?
Love that. So most of my stories will be tied to wealth management in some way. So I talked about the Federal Reserve. If anybody doesn't know what the Federal Reserve is, it's the bank for banks. They set our interest rates and basically deploy monetary and fiscal policy to either control, maintain, or stimulate the economy. So right now, as everybody knows, we just went through, we're still going through COVID-19. The economy has dipped down. So the Federal Reserve is deploying low interest rates, guaranteeing them through 2023 in order to incentivize economic activity. Basically, what that means is borrowing is going to be so cheap that they're basically the cost of money, they're basically giving it away. So when it comes to the personal level, what we're going to see is people are going to start refinancing homes more often, taking out more mortgages. Right now in the housing market, it's really a seller's market. Houses are going quick, which means that people are very much willing to take on extra debt with these low interest rates. We can see the potential implications of that in the housing market down the road. Another interesting thing about this story is the fact that the Federal Reserve has in the past they have raised interest rates when they were expecting inflation to go up. So it goes interest rates and then inflation. This time around, they're going to wait for unemployment to actualize. They're going to wait for inflation to realize 2%. And then they're going to raise interest rates. They're really going to keep the standard of low interest rates for the next 3 years to really incentivize people to start spending money, borrowing money, because that's what keeps this economy going. So it'll be interesting to see how this policy goes forward. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll pass it on to our esteemed colleagues over at Plante Moran.
Awesome. Sweet. So I think you guys, have access. You guys I've got your slide deck here. How should we give you control?
Yeah, I can share my screen too, I think, and I'll just run it on my end. But for everyone that I don't know, my name is Mallory Griffin. I am a manager in the East Lansing office with PMFA. I graduated from Michigan State in 2013, so like just 7 years ago, which is crazy how fast it really goes. But anyways, we're really excited to be here tonight. I wish we could be in person, but hopefully we'll be able to do that again soon. And I've also got Cam and Rob with me, so I'll let them introduce themselves.
Rob, go ahead.
Thanks, Cam and Mallory. Nice to meet everyone virtually here. My name is Rob Forte. I'm also a manager in the PMFA practice out of our downtown Detroit office, although we've been working remotely for the past 6 months. Work really closely with Cam and Mallory in our recruiting efforts here at MSU, and also MSU grad from 2010, so even dating myself further. But really excited to see the growth of the WMA and excited to sit in on your meeting tonight. So thanks for having me here.
And I'm Cam Tinsley. For those of you who don't know me as well, I am an advisor out of our Southfield office in PMFA as well. I graduated from Michigan State in May of 2018. I interned with Plante Moran the summer before that, and then accepted a full-time offer before I started classes. So I've been with the firm about 2 years, and I'm kind of helping Mallory and Rob with the recruitment process, and hopefully we'll be able to step into a higher role there as they kind of transition off and focus on their manager roles at the firm as well.
Yeah, as Rob and I just get too old and students just don't want to hang out with us anymore. We got to have somebody younger take over. So let me try and share my screen. By now I should be good
Cool.
with Teams, but I may struggle a bit. So just bear with me. What I struggle with on Teams, just real quick side note, is there's so many boxes. When you click share your
Yep.
screen, there's so many options that I struggle. So anyways.
Sensory overload.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna try. So why wealth management?
Cool.
So I'm actually gonna kick it over to Cam to start out.
Awesome. So just to give a brief overview of the industry of wealth management in general, before we kind of get into specifics of Plante Moran. I'm glad that Michigan State has had the opportunity to provide a wealth management program at MSU. I wish they actually enacted the program right after I graduated, so perfect timing. But a lot of colleges and universities out there don't have a program like this. For many of the finance classes that you'll take, and I'm sure many of you have had this as well, is that a lot of your classes are going to be very corporate or investment banking driven, which is not necessarily the path that wealth management is. Not necessarily a wrong path or a right path. It's just a different one in finance because it's so broad. But even within wealth management, I'm kind of jumping around to the bullet points. There's a variety of different career paths you can go into, whether you're client facing as an advisor like Mallory, Rob, and myself, whether you are kind of not on the client facing side, you're more in the analytical roles where you're, researching the markets, you're on the Bloomberg terminals, you're looking and providing commentary for advisors like us to bring forth to clients, whether it is to be a wealth transfer advisor, to help with succession planning and estate planning for our clients. I mean, wealth management as a whole is very broad. Plante Moran does a great job of offering what we call holistic financial services to try to wrap in everything about wealth management to give our clients the best value add possible. Wealth management is very dynamic. Every single day of our job is different. We'd be placing trades. One day we'll be meeting clients, the next, and even just with legislative changes, and we've seen that a huge chunk of that come in within the last, couple years. With the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the CARES Act, the Secure Act. I mean, it's changing constantly. So we're always on our toes. There's nothing really that provides consistency, which I think is a huge value add for us as well, because it kind of keeps us, in tune with everything going on in the news and the world that we live in today. I touched on the variety of career paths, meaningful. Yeah, we're good. The opportunity within, no, you're fine. Opportunity within wealth management in the industry as a whole. So that first bullet point there probably is still a little stale, and it goes up year over year, but there's about $30 trillion of assets in the United States that are going to be passed on from what we call the older generations, the boomer generations, down into our generations and even the generations after us. It's as simple as, hey, my parents have money and they'll pass away eventually. They're not going to spend all of it. So where is my money going to go? And that's really where an advisor comes in to bring a value add and provide that and say, hey, you are financially independent, you're able to live within your means, and you're going to have excess over time and build up. What can we do with those assets going forward? How can we, distribute the assets upon your wishes? I like to say that our job doesn't end when the client passes away. Our job ends when the estate is distributed out according to plan. And then the second bullet point there too, 2% of children will keep inheritances with their parents' advisors. With the death of, I'll say, a spouse, less than half of the other spouse will actually keep the same advisor. So, the chain of command, or I guess guess the transfer of advising between families and generations is constantly moving and changing. It provides opportunities for firms like us and provides opportunities for other firms too, to try to bring a value add in different stages of a client's lifetime as well. So a couple other things here. Fewer people are prepared for retirement and need advice. We've seen that. We have the baby boomer generation has been, there's going to be an increased level of retirement from that generation going forward, which means that more people are going to be relying on financial advisors to help them plan and make sure that they can save and spend comfortably through retirement. A lot of people try to put that, they try to self-manage because they think that they can be the day traders of the world. And then once they kind of get into that retirement stage, a lot of the times the question is, do I have enough to maintain my standard of living? And that's where we come in. So industry trends, there's more assets flowing into what we call registered investment advisors. That's what Plante Moran is. You've probably heard the broker dealers of the world, the money managers of the world. There are whole different avenues of being an advisor. A lot of people are trying to find the registered investment advisors because with legislative changes, we're known as a fiduciary, which means that we act in the best interest for our clients and not necessarily the best interest for ourselves. And that's really what people are trying to find from an advisor. The digital age, not just in the investment world, but we're all working from home and we're all here on a Zoom call. It's only going to change more and more as we get through the years. How can we change along with technology? How can we bring that value add to clients? How can we say that we can be better than a robo advisor out there? It's really something that we're constantly looking at and constantly changing throughout the course of our careers, and we'll continue to trend forward. The good advisors, the good RIAs out there are going to be able to trend up with the digital transition as well. And then that last bullet point there is kind of the need for students like yourselves, younger people who are interested in finance and interested in helping people grow their wealth. 1/3 of financial advisors are set to retire in the next 10 years. With that rate of people retiring, that's only going to go up. So the need for an advisor is going to become even greater and provide more jobs and more value within the industry for younger generations like us. So this is kind of just general outside of Plante Moran too. I won't go every single bullet point, but there are a lot of different things to consider when you're looking for an internship or a full-time job with a firm like Plante Moran, a firm like Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch. There's hundreds and thousands, out there. You really want to make sure, it's a place where you want to work. How are you going to be compensated? Are you going to be compensated based on a salary, or is the majority of your compensation going to be through commissions of selling products and selling insurance? Are you going to work for a big firm? Or are you going to work for a small firm? What is the firm feel? A lot of the bigger firms out there try to create teams to give that smaller firm feel, but is that really true in the world that they live in? How is your work-life balance? Are you expected to have your work phone on you 24/7? Are you able to take time for your family? And once you have kids, are you able to take parental leave? Are you able to take time for yourself and in the summer when things are a little bit less busy, are you able to leave work early? And are you going to have to work late some days? Really based on how you can fit your work-life balance in with everything else going on in the world. Firm culture is a big thing. I like to say, are you going to be mentored, or is it going to be you're thrown in the deep end and you're not going to be taught how to swim? A lot of the firms will sit there on the first day and they might give you 200 names to cold call. Are you comfortable doing that? There are some firms that will do that, and there will be other firms that will want to train and hone in on your technical skills before you start facing clients. So there's a whole breadth of registered investment advisors, or just advisors in general. Really trying to figure out how they structure their day-to-days is a huge part in your process of trying to figure out where you want to work. Because as much as you are interviewing for that job, there are hundreds of jobs similar to that, and you got to make sure that you are fitting in with the firm that you're going to be hired in for. And then just wrapping up some qualities for success. A lot of these are kind of common themes throughout all jobs. So again, won't go into all details, but definitely being able to be a people person, being in front of people, being able to make connections and network. You're not necessarily bringing the job into your social life and, giving out business cards at the bar, but are you able to give your elevator pitch if, one of your parents' friends is asking about what you do? Are you able to clearly communicate that? Being able to be a relationship builder, critical thinking, handling multiple responsibilities, stuff going on, day-to-day jobs. Making sure that you can juggle a lot of outstanding tasks and make sure that you're on top of the work that you do. Mallory, I don't know if you have anything else to add. I've kind of been doing a brain dump here, so.
No, I think you really covered everything very well. This is a common question that we get from students on campus is, what do you guys look for in candidates? What can I do to stand out? What can I work on? What's important in the role? And so we like to touch on this and also on the last slide, just what to look for when you're meeting with potential employers, things that are going to be important because they really, as while you're a student, it may just seem like so far down the line to have a full-time job and be living and doing this all the time. But a lot of those qualities that Cam touched on, like the culture and the work-life balance and all that, becomes very, very important, especially right now. We're all working from home. So it feels like we're living at work now. Like essentially we are. My desk is actually in my room. So I'm here all the time. And so it's just really important to take those questions that Cam was posing into account when you're looking at jobs. If I can move it along, let's see. So now specifically Plante Moran Wealth Management. So just a little bit about us briefly. I want to make sure that we leave time for questions. Please feel free to jump in along the way if you have a question. We want this to be more interactive, like it would be if we were on campus. So just jump in, interrupt me. I don't care. That's fine. So founded in 1924, the green states are where we have office locations. But as you can see, the yellow lines, that's really where we have clients. And so at this point, we serve clients in all 50 states. I was trying to see if there's any that don't have lines. No, but and so really, especially now that we're all working from home, it doesn't matter where our clients are. It doesn't matter where we are. Everything is driven by technology. Teams has become like our lifeline for staying connected with clients. So this just, I think is going to grow even, I guess it can't grow to more states, but I think the lines would get thicker and thicker if it showed how many clients we had in each state. So this just lists off the office locations. That's traditionally where we would be. As of right now, we have staff everywhere because everybody's at their house. So just some awards that we've won recently that we're really proud of. Obviously, we've been on Fortune magazine's 100 Best Companies to Work for 22 years now. I won't read off all of these. You guys can all see this, but we're really proud of it, and a lot of that just comes from our culture, which I'll get into a little bit later. So 17.2 billion in assets under management as of March 31st, 2020. So that has continued to grow over the years. Cam mentioned it a little bit that we take really a holistic approach to planning with our clients. So I'll get into that in just a minute, what that really means. But we try to be what we call the personal CFO for our clients. So the client is the CEO. They make all the final decisions. We just bring them information that affects really every aspect of their financial life. So, how much can they afford to put down on a mortgage? Should they pay off their mortgage early? Should they do 15 or 30 years? Should they refinance? All those questions on just mortgages. So, if you think about car leases and investments and retirement planning and all college savings and all these different things, there's so many different ways that we can add value and help our clients. And that's really what a CFO would do at the end of the day. So we aim to be that for our clients. And then we serve. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Mallory. One thing to add on that too is that, while we might not charge on assets that might be on a client's balance sheet, we are the ones asking questions on what investments, what are some things that are outside of what we're managing, what can we help provide, what are some guidance, questions that we have. Today was a perfect example. I had a client meeting where they asked, hey, my son's trying to start a business. I need to gift him $100,000, or I need to get him $100,000. I want to do a loan with him. What are my options? At the end of the day, the $100,000 is going to come out of his account that we're managing. So our fees might go down slightly, but we're still going to be providing that, the answers to his questions, providing context for attorneys to get a promissory note, written up. It's not just about what we're managing. We're not just a money, we're not pushing papers. We're not money managers. We're here sitting in the balance sheet, providing that CFO approach.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good point. So really all I want to show here is that the client is really at the center of every decision, right? I mean, so you start with the investment process. Obviously, we're weighing in on that. We're building out their portfolio, where they want to hold certain assets, what's their risk tolerance, all of that you would think with a traditional advisor. So of course, that's part of what we do. And then insurance, we'll look at their current policies. We have an insurance agency that can review policies for our clients. They can actually place policies if we find a better alternative out there. We can look at it from insurance as an investment option as well. Sometimes that can make sense for different client situations. Obviously, personal income tax is huge for us, just being that we were born from a public accounting firm. Most of our partners within wealth management came over from audit and tax and still have such a strong background in that. So that's obviously a very important thing. It guides all of the investment decisions we make. We may still choose to do something that might be a little bit less tax efficient for some reason, but we still want to bring all of that information to our clients as we're making trades or as we're recommending a different strategy. We let them know up front, this is what it's going to look like from a tax perspective. We don't want any surprises come April. Nobody wants those surprises. Nobody wants an angry client call saying, hey, I owe $100,000. Why did you do this? Nobody wants that. Never fun. Business succession and family estate planning. So Cam talked about that a little bit. That's what our wealth transfer group really specializes in, is helping generation one pass money or pass assets, could be property, could be investments, whatever it may be, down to their, generation two or grandkids or anything or anyone they really want to. So our wealth transfer team does a really good job of helping clients think through different options for transferring wealth to really anyone that they want. And that's a really unique thing about Plante Moran, is that service that we offer, because usually, and I don't want to say this blanket statement, but a lot of times you just don't see that with other advisors. I'm sure some of them do, but I haven't seen it very often. And then Plante Moran Trust. So we do have a trust bank that serves as trustee for client situations. What we found was a lot of clients of PMFA were naming their relationship manager as the trustee in their documents, which was a huge, obviously, vote of confidence for us. Like, you want to become the trusted advisor with every client. That's the ultimate goal. And they were doing that so well that they were actually being named trustee, and being a trustee in a client's document it's a huge responsibility. It's an honor, but it's a huge responsibility. And with that comes some liability. So we said, if we're going to do this, we need to do it right. We need to form a trust bank that specializes in this and make sure that they're doing everything exactly right. And then cash flow, obviously we help with, retirement planning. How much do you need to save? How much can you spend on houses and things like that? Just your classic.
Paying off the Nordstrom credit card.
You see that.
All of that.
Paying for MSU tuition for for their kids. We see that. Really any questions that kind of go into that as well. A day in the life.
All right. So I know we have a number of interns that are also in the Wealth Management Association that were able to join us, and I'll have them step in from the advisor perspective or the intern perspective, and kind of kind of show what they did on a day-to-day, and I can kind of go into what, my role does and what Mallory and Rob and some of our partners do too. For the sake of time, for those interns, want to just make it brief if you can. I'll let any of you guys jump in and kind of just do an ad hoc blurb of your time here.
Yeah, I can jump in really quickly. One of the things that I liked about being an intern at Plante Moran is that they don't necessarily treat you like an intern. Like after your first week of training and you get all that stuff done, week number 2, they kind of push you in and they are handing you work like meeting prep or rebalancing client portfolios and everything like that. So it's really about being treated like a full-time staff. And I'm definitely a true believer that Plante Moran wants its interns to gain a real life experience through the internship. I don't know if Justin or Alex, you want to jump in?
Yeah, just to echo you, Alex, I totally agree with that. I felt like I got such a wide range of experience. I got to do like everything from the beginning of the meeting prep, following it through all the way till the end, sitting in the meeting, following up afterward, making sure everything looked good. So I found that very valuable. I feel like I really got the opportunity to see what it looks like if I when I do start there full time. So I thought that was awesome. The other big thing was how open everybody was. All you had to do was shoot anybody an email from the partner level all the way down to the advisor level, and they'd be willing to meet with you. I got to talk with Jim Baird, the CIO of the whole firm, and all I had to do was shoot him an email, and he immediately said yes. So I thought that was very cool that they allowed us to do that.
I thought it was really neat because I specifically interned in the wealth transfer department, and Plante Moran allowed me to see like what Plante Moran Financial Advisor does, what Plante Moran Trust does, and it was really cool to see like all the different specialties within Plante Moran.
Yeah, kind of following up on what Justin said, I think being in the back office work and kind of seeing like meetings come into fruition and seeing like your work, what you did on the back office, and then how it paid off, and then like Justin said, following up, and being in there from step one to the finish line, I thought was pretty cool.
Thank you guys. That was awesome.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Way better than Cam and I talking.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So yeah, to kind of give an overview of some of the other items when you come on full time, Mallory, if you want to go one slide over. And I'll get into this with what we call our pyramid of progress, one of the lovely visuals that we like to give on the first day of training. But we like to build from what's called the bottom up approach, really honing in on technical skills and really solidifying, the technical base that you have to become a trusted advisor in the future. Within the first 3 years of the firm, you're getting what we call a Series 65 designation to be a registered investment advisor. And then you're working towards your CFP designation, which many of you probably are aware of what that designation is, so I won't go into it. But then also staying up on industry and economic trends. Again, your classes at MSU for finance specifically aren't going to train you on what's going on in current events on a day-to-day. They're going to ask you about these individual stocks. But for our approach, we're looking at the different industries and different sectors of the market that we should be strategically changing, during different business cycles. And then just client management. Once you're at the firm as an advisor, in your first week, you get a book of clients, and you're that advisor in that group of 3 to 4. And you're the one that is managing all of the behind the scenes action. If you got a meeting, you're the one prepping meeting prep. If we have to raise $1 million from a client portfolio, you're the first person to touch that portfolio and place those trades. Just a bunch of different things that you're going to see in the back end, and really be able to train and understand how our relationship managers and senior advisors work to get to that trusted advisor status. Mm-hmm. Mallory, if you want to go ahead to our nice little day one visual of the pyramid of progress.
Yep, and one quick addition here. What I really like about this slide and the last one is, as you can see under client management within the advisor, these are all things that our interns did last summer. Mm-hmm. So, they all spoke to that. You're rebalancing portfolios, you're attending client meetings, you're doing financial independence projections. So all of those same things that that you experience during an internship is exactly what you'd be doing full time in. And that's really the goal of our internship. We don't want to sell you on something that isn't really what the job looks like. We want it to be a mirror image so that if you do start with us full time, you know what you're getting into, and we didn't sell you on, oh no, all we do is go to intern summit and volunteer and do this and that and the other thing. We really do all of this work, and so the internship just is a good good exposure to all of the tasks that an advisor would do.
And then just to briefly touch on this, you know, a lot of other firms out there do the top-down approach where they start and they give you, you know, like I said, the list of 200, you know, prospective clients, and you get to call and you get to try to get them into the office. For us, we don't think that approach is the best way to go about the business that we do. We really want to train the younger staff to eventually fill the roles of Mallory and Rob, and eventually the people starting out at Plante Moran to eventually fill my role so that we could move up into, you know, a senior advisor, into a relationship manager, and one day become a partner at the firm. And that really starts at the ground level, building the technical skills, understanding how to communicate in a professional manner with not just clients, but internally, building those relationships, building your internal and external networks, being able to gain new clients, and then becoming that advisor and a trusted advisor, and really working up the pyramid throughout your career. And making sure that you're continuing to fill the cracks of the technical skills and the communication as your time goes on in your career.
So a couple of things we just, you know, I want to finish up here pretty quick, but just with our culture. So the work-life balance that we've been able to achieve, even still while working from home, is really, I think, unique to us, and is really a special thing about working at Plante Moran. We have unlimited time off. And so what that means is, no, you can't take off a month at a time or anything like that. But if back when we were in the office, if I said, okay, I want to leave a couple hours early to, I don't know, take my dog to the vet, or because I just feel like it because it's a nice day and I don't have any client meetings, that's fine. As long as you're getting your work done, you don't have to worry about, you know, just taking off a few hours early, especially on Fridays in the summer. There was a joke with my office mate that I was never in the office past like 2 on a Friday in the summer. And that was pretty typical with my team partner as well. She didn't like to be there at that time anyways. We know in the fall and during winter we're going to be really busy. So why not enjoy the summer months when it's warm and we can get outside and we're not super busy? Why not enjoy that? We'll make up for it later. Working from other offices, yeah, well, hopefully someday we'll be back to that. Technology has definitely made our lives easier right now. We wouldn't be able to serve clients as well as we do if we didn't have the technology platforms that we do have in place. So we're very lucky there. Yeah, all of this too. Training. This is, I think, really important as well, just because when I started full-time, well, when I started as an intern, the day before I started, I thought, I know nothing. I'm going to walk in there. They're going to realize that I know nothing, and that will be the end of my internship. Like, that'll be it. And that's just not the way that it goes at all. So Cam talked about the pyramid of progress, and as cheesy as, you know, those diagrams might be, it is really important to the way that we operate. You know, we spend so much time investing in our staff and making sure that they have the tools they need to feel confident to be able to talk to older clients or clients who have a lot of money. Because I just remember thinking at 22, I can't sell to someone. I don't know anything, and they're going to realize that I don't know anything. And why would they take advice from me? I wouldn't take my own financial advice at 22. So the way that we approach it is just really important in my mind, and making sure that you have that strong technical base first. And that continues as you go on. We continue with on-the-job training. We attend conferences. Well, we used to. Now we virtually attend conferences. We have every other week we have update calls with our investment research group, and they tell us what they're seeing and the research that they've been working on, or what they're hearing from the managers that they're talking to, and just different things like that, just to keep us all up to date and technically strong, because they know that we're the ones that are really talking to clients all day, every day. So a little bit about this. So geography doesn't really play a part anymore. Firm fellowships, all that means is there is some opportunity for people, if they start with the firm, and I actually am going to let Rob jump in here quickly, but if they start with the firm and they do a great job and they know that they want to be at Plante Moran, but maybe tax isn't actually where their passion is. Maybe they've been in a couple client meetings with PMFA and they think, wow, that's really interesting. I would love to spend a little bit of time with PMFA. There is opportunity for people to do that. So we've had a number of people do it. And this is where I'm going to kick it over to Rob.
Thanks, Mallory. Yeah, I'm definitely an example of that. I actually studied accounting at Michigan State, and I got my start at Plante Moran through internships and through starting full time on the accounting side in audit. So definitely one of our biggest assets is being so well diversified now. Audit and tax was our bread and butter when we got going 95 years ago, but we've really grown into a financial services firm at this point, and have so many service lines and very niche consulting practices, wealth management, of course, and even within tax and audit, there's a lot of different things you can do. So if you're somebody who's driven and wants to buy into the culture, there's a ton of opportunity here. Not that, we look to hire for the long term, of course. So the hope is that when we hire you into your position, you're going to excel very well at that and make partner there. But obviously, in today's age, there's a lot of fast changing dynamics to things, and people's passions develop and change. And I was able to take advantage of that, and I'm very happy with where I'm at now. And really, that's all based on the culture and the opportunity that was presented to me at the firm here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Rob. Sorry, I totally did not tell you that I was going to do that. But it occurred to me as I was reading it that, hey, we've got a perfect example of how this has worked out so well for you and for wealth management. So just thought I'd bring you in for a second.
Thank you, Mallory.
So fun. This is kind of sad. We're doing our best to make all of this work right now. The firm conference, wealth management conference, holiday parties, those are all on hold for right now. We're hoping to get back to that. Historically, we've had just annual conferences that are so much fun. The time that you spend with people outside of your home office is just invaluable. So we're really hoping to get back to that soon. We are still doing like virtual happy hours and things like that. So we're doing the best we can in this environment, but hopefully soon we'll be back to more normal, conferences and holiday parties and that sort of thing. So this is one of my favorite slides actually. So how do we grow? Really that last bullet point is where I want to focus. There is no commissions. I don't care if my clients invest in mutual fund A versus mutual fund B. I'm not being compensated any differently. I want them to invest in the best thing for them, whatever it may be. That's fine. If it ends up being that, they can't handle the volatility. I did have one client sell out of equities in March and go to cash. And they pulled their cash from their portfolio. Our fees went down from there, but at the end of the conversation that we were having with this client, and he was so nervous and just so uneasy with the markets, he didn't need to be taking risk in the equity markets. He didn't have much equity exposure anyways. He was very conservative, but he didn't need it to sustain his lifestyle. So at the end of the day, if it's making him that uneasy, go to cash, pull the cash. That's fine. Like that's what was best for him. It helped him sleep at night. And so that's perfectly fine. So we're okay with that. Because again, it was in their best and in his best interest in that situation. So no cold calling either. We're not out there just with a phone book, looking up numbers or knocking on doors or anything like that. That was one of the reasons when I was on campus that I was really attracted to Plante Moran. Was I knew that I did not want to sell. I knew that, like I said earlier, I wouldn't listen to 22-year-old Mal trying to pitch investment. So why would somebody else? And I didn't want to rely on that for income. So that was a big thing for me when I was a student. And then, so most of our clients do come from either other clients or local attorneys, or tax and audit staff. Tax and audit staff are probably our biggest referral source. They're the ones, they have all these relationships and they're seeing that, oh, this business owner is about to sell their business. Well, I think Plante Moran Insurance Agency or the wealth transfer team could help them through that process. And then they have this liquidity event. So they have all this cash. What do they do with that? PMFA can get involved and help them make those like investment decisions. So that's where a lot of our referrals come from, which is really, really nice because, again, I did not want to be cold calling by any means. Okay, and then I think this is our last slide that I want to touch on. So we've already talked about it a little bit, actually a lot of it, but being that we're fiduciaries means that we are completely independent and objective. And so, like I said earlier, I think that's a unique thing. It's something that we hold in high regard, just knowing that we are truly doing what's in the client's best interest. And so I'm going to skip that in the interest of time. So these are just a couple of our opportunities, depending on where you're at, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, fifth year. These are kind of what you'd qualify for. If you have any interest in any of these, please go to our website and you can find out a lot of information about any of these. Our job postings are out there. So yes, please go to our website. And there's a QR code. So if you scan that with your phone, I think it only works for iPhones though. If you scan that with your iPhone or go to the website listed below, you can sign up to be like on our email listserv and stay informed and stay connected with us. Rob or Cam, anything that I missed or anything to jump in on?
No.
Sorry, I was trying to wrap it up quickly. I realized it was 7:25 and I don't want to keep you guys staring at your computers after a long day of staring at your computers. So
You guys did a great job, Mallory and Cam. Really thorough. I have nothing to add outside of, keep doing what you're doing as students, being part of organizations like this. Internships are wonderful, but they are hard to come by. And from the second you step on campus, if you have a passion for something like WMA, you can get involved and you can get knowledgeable about the industry and start building those connections. So MSU students are always very good about that, and just keep doing these types of things. It's so important to build that base.
So any questions from anybody?
Yeah, I have a question. Anyone can answer this really. How do you measure success with your clients?
Good question.
Wow.
So we do track performance, and I will be careful to say that I don't think performance really tracks what makes a successful client relationship. It's becoming that trusted advisor, and it doesn't get to a point where they say, you did it, you're my trusted advisor, I completely trust you. It's just building the relationship over time. And I actually have had people say like, that they totally trust us and that sort of thing, but you don't always get that verbal confirmation. But the way that I'd say that we track success is just how long are our clients staying with us? Hopefully forever. Are they introducing us to their friends, which does happen a lot. I mentioned that client referrals is where we get some new business. So are they doing that? Are they introducing us to their friends or their kids? Are they setting us up to work with their kids when their kids eventually inherit their money? Those are really the ways that you can tell that you're really entrenched with a client and that they really see value in the service you provide.
I had a question as well. My name is Nathan Jefferson. I wanted to know, what is Plante Moran proactively doing to be able to lead the wealth management industry?
Good question.
Ooh. We're getting all the tough ones tonight.
I know.
We're getting all the tough ones.
So yeah, go ahead,
yeah.
Cam.
I was going to say, we're really trying to stay on top of the digital environment that we're in. We made a huge investment in a brand new accounting and performance software system. It's called Black Diamond. Implemented it the perfect time in October of 2019. And it really has helped us, with our efficiency, cutting down on some of the meeting prep, cutting down on the time that it takes on the back end for some things, but also being kind of the front runner of signing documents electronically, getting into virtual meetings, and getting some of our older clients comfortable with approving wires and some of that stuff from their mobile phones. A lot of them are old school and wanted the paper, but now that we're in this digital world, we have to train them on how we can get some of those urgent requests done, and then obviously training them to be comfortable in this virtual environment in the back and forth from a computer screen. We really try to emphasize and train clients and educate clients to get up there in those roles and provide value. And a lot of them do ask questions saying, hey, robo advisors are out there. What makes you different? We, again, try to take that holistic approach, and we really try to tell them how we're adding value, where we see fit too. Mm-hmm. Good question. Mm-hmm. Mallory, do you want to stop sharing your screen there?
Oh, yeah,
just so
I'm sorry.
They can get all of our faces there.
Yep.
I have a question as well.
Yeah.
So you may have touched on this for a second. I might have missed it. But with COVID-19 and the related economic recession, how do you think that's redirected your business in the past 6 months and then changed the wealth management game going forward?
Yeah, another good question. So redirecting our business in the last 6 months, I'd say, 6 months ago, right before this happened, I never would have guessed that we were working virtually for 6 months at this point. I thought there's no way, like the firm had come out, we had these great technology platforms in place, but so much of what we do is driven around client relationships, right? So being with our clients, talking to our clients, and traditionally we've done so much of that in person. And so the way that we've had to evolve over the past 6 months is pretty crazy to think about, just because, like I said, we did so much of it in person and now it's all virtual. So that's really how we've evolved. It was surprisingly seamless. I really thought clients would have a bigger issue with it. A lot of the older clients, I was worried they're not going to want to do video calls. They're going to say, no, we'll just wait to meet until we can meet in person and that sort of thing. But just helping them through getting more comfortable with a Microsoft Teams meeting has helped a lot. And so now I would say 90% of my clients I've met with virtually in the last 6 months, and I'll meet with the remaining 10 in the next month or so. So we've definitely evolved a lot over the last 6 months, and it's changed incredibly since really mid-March. And what was the second part of the question?
Just how you think it might affect wealth management as an industry going forward.
Yeah, I think so I think the way that we're operating now and the way that we used to operate will somehow come together, and there'll be some sort of a hybrid. So Rob and I were actually talking earlier today, and I think he agrees with me. I don't foresee us ever 100% going back to the office. Like, I don't think we'll be there full time anymore. I think a lot of clients have really come to understand the efficiency that can be gained with doing a virtual meeting, and really we haven't lost relationships because of it. I don't think client relationships have suffered largely because of being virtual, at least for the last 6 months. At some point, hopefully we can get back together with them. But so I think going forward, it will be we'll spend some time at home during the week and some time in the office, and a lot more meetings will continue to be virtual, and some will still be in person once in a while. But it won't be like we were doing.
Thank you.
Those are all good points, Mallory. I think the other thing that comes to mind for me, as far as an industry, is just sort of flipping the script a little bit and thinking about our clients and the behavioral side of everything. That is a super underrated component of managing your clients, is just their emotions. And every client has a different background, different emotions, a different experience. if you think of like your own life, the experiences that you have are 80 to 90% of what makes up your life, your decision making, your emotions. But in the scheme of the world, your perspective is so granular, so small. And imagine that times 150 clients. Everyone's got their own different twist on what investing is. And this is such a traumatic event. There's so much going on in the world right now that I think, there's going to be a generation of people that just have this very ingrained experience, and that's going to change their psyche around investing, income, sustainable jobs, security, financial security. I mean, deep rooted type emotions that's going to change the psyche. So I don't have those answers, but it's going to be interesting to see where that goes, because the behavioral side of things is becoming so important to understand, and really to be a good advisor. The emotional intelligence component is becoming just as important as all the technical aspects, making sure that you really understand where your clients are coming from to properly serve them.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I'll do a 30-second clip to add on to that as well. From the advisor perspective, from my perspective, from Mallory and Rob, this is the first recession that we have been in a full-time job. A lot of our relationship managers, the ones that are less than 5 years away from becoming a partner at the firm, were not even staff members during 08 and 09. So this is really the first round that a lot of us in Plante Moran, or a lot of us as advisors, just have had to deal with a market dip of 30+% in 3 months, and then have to back up our reasoning of why we have to stay invested. We can go through so many different trainings and have so many different sayings and so many different plans put together. But when you have a client sitting there and looking at their portfolio down $1.5 million in 3 months, and they're screaming Armageddon and want to go to full cash, that's where you add your value as an advisor. Anybody can give you a positive return on the market in 2019 when the S&P 500 is up 35%. But how are you going to add your value as an advisor when the stock market dips 30%? Because at the end of the day, your clients are calling you, the people that they pay thousands of dollars for a year, to say, hey, take my emotions out of this. Tell me what I need to be doing right now to take advantage of the opportunity. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's what we need to try to accomplish as well. A little more than 30 seconds, but
it's okay. We forgive you.
Rob, I just wanted to say my father used to work in real estate, and right after the 08-09 crash, he expressed similar things about how like the emotional intelligence, like the awareness kind of changes in certain industries. So like I appreciate you sharing that sentiment.
I'm reading a wonderful book right now that I think all you guys would like. It's called The Psychology of Money. It's a brand new book by a guy named Morgan Housel. Just fascinating stuff on some of those types of topics that I'm learning a lot from. Check it out.
What's the name of that book again?
The Psychology of Money. There's a picture of a brain made out of $100 bills on the front. Sorry, Nate, were you going to jump in and say something?
That was actually my question. I wanted to know if you had any recommendations of books that hit that topic. But I did actually have one more question. So you talked about the internships application being due October 1st. Is that for all of the applications, or is that specifically for your junior and senior year?
So that's for all applications for internships and for full-time, which we really don't have many full-time. We have one full-time position open in Columbus. So I don't know if anybody's interested in moving to Ohio, but if you are, there's an opening in Columbus. But so yes, October 1st. And you do need to apply on our website and Handshake, I think it's called.
Yep.
But not for Expo, right, Mallory? Or Expo?
Correct. Not for Expo or track. I believe those are usually handled in the spring semester.
Yep.
I could. Vincent, go ahead.
Oh, no. Okay, thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. But no, I wanted to just ask a quick question to you guys. So, Cameron, you kind of touched on this a little bit. But what do you guys what are the qualities that you consistently see from new hires, new interns, new full-time? Like what are the qualities that that you kind of expect to see from your new hires?
Yeah, I'll go first here. Kind of talk from somebody who's been through the ringer, I guess, a little bit more recently. But coming to the table and just having energy to learn. Day one as an intern, day one as a new hire, we're not expecting you to know anything. As an intern, I barely knew what a stock was, and I was going to be an advisor intern. And like Mallory said, I wouldn't trust 20-year-old me to manage some money. So really understanding that you're not going to know 95% of what you do in your job, and you're going to be learning that within the first few years is really what we're looking for. I always like to say, it's not about your week one performance that you have on the job. It's about the 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks after that and how you're going to continue to grow. Are you making the same mistakes? Are you asking the same questions? Are you still kind of lost in topics that you keep getting, trained on? Are you continuing to improve there? And that's really where we track the progress of interns throughout the time. And as new hires, that's really, I need to make sure that I can be moving up in my role so that I can eventually fill the spot of Mallory on a client, or filling the spot of Rob so that they can move up into that higher role as well.
Good job. Nothing to add there. Just ask questions, be engaged. Those are the two main ones for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey everyone, thanks again for joining us. Good to see you guys, Mallory and Cameron and Rob. Quick question: as RIAs are growing over time, they face new challenges with increased scalability. At the higher end, Plante Moran, what kind of unique challenges does the firm see in day-to-day and corporate wide?
So challenges we see, I think something that a big challenge that we were seeing a lot more in maybe like 2018, 2019, and still prevalent today, obviously, is the creation or the evolution of the robo-advisor. So every custodian came out with, the intelligent platform or whatever it might be. That's Schwab's. Whatever their version of it is called, they all had one overnight. Very low cost, very easy to use for young people. So I could definitely, as a young person at the time, I could definitely see the appeal to that. I don't have to meet with somebody. Younger people don't really want to go drive to an office and sit down with a financial advisor for an hour. They'd rather do a Teams meeting or not even have a actual advisor. They'd rather just have a robot do it for them, or a computer program. So that was something that was I thought it was going to be a bigger challenge, but it still was a challenge. And we did adapt to that. We have what we call our core group that Rob is actually a member of. And that's a very technology driven program that's really aimed at some younger people, but not just younger people. I don't want to say anything wrong in front of Rob since he's in that group, but
no, you're doing fine, Mallory.
Yeah, so that was kind of our group that could handle the robo-advisor, that was much more technology driven, but also you have an actual assigned advisor. So when the market is down 30% in March, you have someone to call that can actually talk to you about it. You're not stuck with an app on your phone and just panicking. You have someone to talk through, what they're seeing or what they think, or what changes they might recommend. You actually have a physical person who knows your portfolio. You're not calling a call center. So that was a big thing, a big challenge that we had, that now I think we've really come up with a great solution that has served so many of our clients really, really well.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I know we're over here. Thank you guys so much. Does anybody else have any more questions for the Plante Moran team? If not, thank you guys all for joining us today. I know I'm going to stay on the line here if anybody wants to ask a question, but if not, thank you guys so much. And thank you to Plante Moran. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for having us. It was nice to see everybody and catch up with you guys, and hopefully we can do it in person soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, guys. Best of luck.